So I have been making soap for a few years now, and I've been mainly using coconut oil, olive oil, castor oil, and shea butter. And I noticed recently that there is a huge hype on beef tallow. So I said, I have to try this. Like, why is beef tallow getting so popular lately in soap making and other skincare ingredients? I know that shea butter and beef tallow have a lot in common. So today we're gonna talk about just that. Which one is better? Is there a clear winner between shea butter and beef tallow? Let's find out. And if you're new here, my name is Barry and I have a background in chemical engineering and a master's in biotechnology. For the past 5 years, I've been working in the biotech industry, focusing on skincare molecules. And if I'm obsessed with one thing, that is formulation, understanding the why behind each ingredient and finding out that you actually don't need 100 different ingredients to make your own skincare at home. You actually need very few ingredients, tweak the ratios and create completely unique products. So if you want a free PDF that shows you how to make 6 completely new skincare products with only 7 ingredients, that's all you need to make 6 skincare products that you use every single day, then comment formulation and I will send to you as soon as I see your comment. So here is shea butter and here is beef tallow. When you look at them, they don't really look much different. They're both very, very, very similar. But in order to understand the actual difference between shea butter and beef tallow in soap, we have to look at the fatty acid profile. If you're new here, remember, oils and butters, they're separated into 4 categories. Number 1 is oils that offer conditioning properties to your soap. This is the so-called conditioning oils. So this is olive oil, high oleic sunflower oil, and so on. Why is that? Olive oil is high in oleic acid. When oleic acid reacts with lye, it produces sodium oleic, which is a substance that adds a lot of gentle and conditioning lather to your soap. And the most popular soaps in the world, Castile soap, Marseille soap, Aleppo soap, guess what? They all have one thing in common, and this is that they have a very high concentration of olive oil. All of them. So olive oil, high in oleic acid, this is what makes an oil conditioning. Bear in mind that conditioning oils, some of them, they have also high concentration of linoleic acid, which adds conditioning properties to your lather as well. But at the same time, linoleic acid is a very unstable acid because it contains 2 double bonds and it's very prone to oxidation. So whenever you're buying a conditioning oil that has a high concentration of linoleic acid, bear in mind that your soap might look something like this after a few months. You see, it's basically orange, the so-called dreaded orange spots. So cleansing oils, we have oils that are high in lauric acid like coconut oil and babasu oil. Then we have category 3, and this is the one we are talking about today, which is creaminess and hardness. Here you have shea butter, cocoa butter, lard, beef tallow, mango butter, palm oil. All of these are very similar to each other with certain slight differences when it comes to fatty acid profile and also cost. So if we start with shea butter is high in oleic acid, 40 to 55%, but it's also high in stearic acid. And this is the key ingredient here. Stearic acid is what adds creaminess to your lather. When stearic acid reacts with sodium hydroxide, it produces sodium stearate, and this is what adds creaminess and structure to your lather. Now, cocoa butter is another ingredient. It's slightly different than shea butter because cocoa butter, as you will see, also contains palmitic acid. I used to use cocoa butter a lot in my soaps until my supplier stopped supplying it. There were some problems with the supply of cocoa butter in 2025, so I had to switch all of my products from cocoa butter to shea butter. So cocoa butter has palmitic acid, and that actually leads to a more stable lather and more long-lasting lather. Then we have lard. Lard, as you will see, has oleic acid, it has palmitic acid and stearic acid, so it's also an amazing ingredient. And then we have beef tallow. Beef tallow is high in oleic acid. It's high in palmitic acid, and it also has a bit of stearic acid. So this is the main difference between beef tallow and shea butter up here, is it leads to slightly more stable lather because it's high in palmitic acid, and it has a bit of stearic acid as well, which leads to a creamy lather. So this is how the fatty acid profile differs between beef tallow and shea butter. But how does that look like in practice? Basically, shea butter will lead to a more creamy lather. Beef tallow will lead to a more stable and long-lasting lather, meaning that because of palmitic acid, once it reacts with sodium hydroxide, you have sodium palmate, and sodium palmate is not very water soluble. And because it's not very water soluble, your soap lasts longer in the shower. So you will hear this all the time. People say, I make soap with beef tallow and it lasts so many days compared to normal soap. This is mainly because of palmitic acid. If I had to replace beef tallow one-to-one with something else, so completely have the exact same fatty acid profile, I would use a combination of shea butter and palm oil, because you will see that palm oil is also very, very high in palmitic acid. Shea butter is high in oleic acid and a bit of stearic acid, so the two combined together would lead to something closer to beef tallow, basically. What's the main issue with beef tallow? Of course, it has to come that it's an animal product, and I understand that some people don't want to use that because of that. They're sustainable because it's a byproduct of the animal industry, so there is the aspect kind of sustainability there, and it's also very, very cheap. So if you render it yourself, the cost is basically zero, and that's why a lot of people prefer it compared to shea butter. There is another difference. I always ask people, what would you like to make, soap or other skincare? Why do I ask that? Soap making is completely different than other skincare products because soap making involves the use of lye, sodium hydroxide. And other skincare products do not involve the use of lye. So when you have lye, you have a chemical reaction. Your lye converts your oils into something else. While when you have other skincare products like lip balms, deodorants, and so on, you have your oils existing in their original form. They are not converted into something else. This is basically a triglyceride. It's a molecule of 3 fatty acids together with a glycerol backbone. So this is glycerol, and these are 3 fatty acids. So basically when sodium hydroxide comes, sodium hydroxide is also called NaOH, meaning sodium and hydroxide. Hydroxide is a very reactive molecule, meaning that it's very prone to attacking and breaking bonds. So when you have sodium hydroxide, when you have the hydroxyl group here, it will basically it will attack the bond between glycerol and then 3 fatty acids, and those will be separated. And now the 3 fatty acids will react with the sodium atoms and they will create soap. So you have your soap molecules here and you have your glycerol molecules here. That's basically the saponification reaction, and that's why your soap also has glycerol in the end, and it's not just soap. And glycerol is what adds moisturizing properties. But in other skincare, you don't have that. In other skincare, you don't have this reaction. You have, for example, lip balms, deodorant, hand creams, conditioner bars, shampoo bars, all basically that your oils exist in their original form without being reacted into anything. And make sure to comment I want a formulation to check my free PDF on how you can make 6 completely new skincare products with only 7 ingredients. This is what I'm passionate about. I'm passionate about basically people understanding formulation in order to make new products with only a few ingredients, and in the process saving a lot of money, time, and energy. Because trust me, I know how it feels to actually browse on the internet and buy a lot of different oils that I do not need, that add no extra value to my products, just because they sound fancy, like avocado oil, macadamia oil, or rosehip oil, grapeseed oil, pumpkin seed oil. All of these, they don't add any extra value to your soap. So it's very important to know what works, what doesn't, and only work with a very few ingredients, tweak the ratios to create completely new products. By the way, if you want to go from an overwhelmed beginner to a confident soap maker that not only copies recipes but understands formulation and the why behind each ingredient, I have an ebook that basically contains 15 tested recipes from shampoo, conditioner bars, soaps, hand soap, dish soap, body soap, sensitive skin soap, and so on, and the why behind each ingredient. I've been receiving a lot of great feedback from it. People have been transforming the soap making using this ebook, and I would love to hear what you have to say about it. Thank you so much for watching all the way to the end. I hope you enjoyed this video and that it could add some value to you, and I will see you guys next time.